I'm going to move that we cut the pottery wheel and tables for $5,200 for $57,850.
Yeah. I have a motion. Do I have a second on that motion? Mr. Nicholson? I have a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion to reduce $5,200 for the pottery wheel and table, Mr. Person?
That's actually 3 pottery wheels and 2 tablets, according to the white pages.
3 pottery wheels and 2.
Is that the total?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
It says 45 and 7.
All of them, okay.
So it doesn't say pottery wheels.
I thought we were just getting
I recall reading something, somebody asked a question about that in our deliberations. I don't remember what the comeback was, but that was a question that was answered by administration, so if you could bear with us a minute.
I believe the answer is they could do with less. That was the question, can we get less than 1?
You find it, Mr. Person?
Somebody asked the question, can we survive with 1 or 2 pottery wheels instead of 3? The answer was we currently own 8 fully operational pottery wheels with 6 that need replacement. The program can survive with replacing 1 or 2 per year as long as students are presented multiple learning tasks to manage and complete according to available facilities.
So it sounds like they're starting to wear out. What the answer was when we got the question. Other discussion on that motion? No. Who seconded the motion? Mr. Nicholson. Motion by Mrs. Bush and a second by Mr. Nicholson. I'm going to bring the motion to a vote by show of hands. All in favor? And those opposed? I show 2 opposed. Motion does carry 4-2. And Ms. Harnett, what?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Conley, how many teacher coaches are in the system now?
There were 7 teacher coaches in the system.
And how many are represented in our budget and our Alliance dollars?
There are 3.
I'd like to move to cut 3 teacher coach positions in the amount of, is it 69,000 times 3?
That's correct.
Motion to cut 3 teacher coaches at 3 times 69.
197,000.
197,000.
207.
207,
Yeah.
sorry.
207. Motion is to cut 3 teacher coaches at 207,000. Is there a second? Mr. Nicholson? Motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? Mr. Kaplan?
I do not support the motion. I believe the initiative has been worthwhile and is bearing fruit. And it's for that reason that I'm not going to support the motion as presented.
Ms. Fisher?
I agree with Mr. Kemp. I think that we have seen vast improvements, and I think we need to give them more time to make it even more effective.
Other discussion? Ms. Sarn?
Could I ask what those improvements are? We've been asked to give measurable results from teacher coaches, and I don't think we've been able to provide that. We assume that they are making impact. We're told they're having impact. I'm not convinced that teachers are availing themselves of teacher coaches and that they're functioning to the degree that we hope they will. I can't endorse 7 teacher coaches. We're only reducing by 3. That leaves 4. And until I see data that says this is the significant impact and here it is measured for you, I can't support 7 teacher coaches.
Other discussion? Mr. Kemp?
You could follow that same logic and discuss whether or not you should have a second grade teacher at 18 or a 4th grade teacher at 22 and ask for measurable results and go that route. You fundamentally have to believe whether 18 is appropriate for the second grade and 22 is appropriate for the fourth grade. And teacher coaches are appropriate for advancing the skill sets of our teaching staff. It's as simple as that. To demand measurable results is a nice thing to say, but it's no more, I think, valid than demanding the results for needing a second grade teacher when you have the problem of 25 in the second grade.
Mrs. Bush.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask Dr. Conway, could the program be effective with only 4 teacher coaches? And could we break them down where there'd be enough numeracy, literacy, and behavior coaches to make it, instead of maybe cutting a teacher in a classroom?
I would prefer not to cut the teacher coaches. I think they are having a measurable impact. You will be having the report certainly before the end of the year on what has happened in our classrooms and the difference between last year and this year in terms of which grade level and the classes and the achievement that's been happening. That would leave 4, all funded by the Alliance District grant, which is, of course, 1 behavior and 3 academic coaches. So we would have to change a little bit. Right now that would be 2 mathematics coaches, 1 kindergarten, and 1 behavior. Those are the 4 that were funded by the Alliance District. So that's spreading them pretty thin. It's the board's decision.
Other discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to bring the motion to a vote, and the vote is to reduce by 3 teacher coaches for $207,000. All in favor by show of hands. I see 4, and those opposed. I show 2, and that motion does carry.
Point of order. You're in a position to vote. You can affect the outcome.
4-2 does not affect the vote.
I don't see 4. I see 3-2.
I saw 4.
4 to 2.
Mrs. Arn,
I'm correct.
Mr. Percy, Ms. Bush, and Mr. Nicholson. Other action? Yes, sir.
Based on the very first conversation, which was Dr. Conway would like to have action sooner than later, it seems to me we've taken action regarding staff that they may, so that that impact can be handled. I would suggest that at $667,000, is that where we're at? 676. I need a math coach. That we...
Sorry, we just got that position.
that we did what we needed to do for the time being and eliminated the coaches and, I mean, the staffing positions that we needed to. And maybe we can wait for the feasibility study to simply see if it can have any impact on the current budget, on next year's budget.
Other discussion? I think we need to really seriously get closer to the number that we're supposed to be at. We're going to be going to referendum, and if that fails, we're going to be doing even more at that point in time. I think it's incumbent upon us to at least show the real picture as to where we are as we get closer to that point in time. And I think this is the time that we really need to do that.
Can I ask a question about the tutors and specifically what that entails?
I'll have to turn that over to Mrs. Buell if you don't mind.
Ms. Buell, could you come forward?
there was a time when we used to tutor at, in the TALC program, when we moved the program from Coffeyville to TALC in the last, I would say, 2.5 years. We have not filled that position, and so it's just kind of, it was still sitting there, and at this point, we're not projecting to fill it for next year.
Then I move that we cut that down to $17,909,000.
There's a motion to cut the tutor at 17,909. Is there, Mrs. Bush?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote by a show of hands. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Mr. Percy.
I'd like to talk about the security guard at RHS, which I do feel that RHS needs. I've heard some, it's pending if the budget passes the state level, that there will be a pool of money for security in schools. Have you heard anything on that, or is Mr. Caro?
We've heard the same kind of rumors. The rumors I heard were more facility issues as opposed to staffing.
Okay.
So that's what we heard as well.
I heard it was going to be like a grant or something for facilities that you'd be able to apply.
I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
Other discussion? Mr. Campbell.
I don't favor cutting the security guard.
Yeah, no, there's no motion.
I'm sorry?
There's no motion currently on the floor.
Oh, I thought that
No, that was just a question.
Implied motion in there, sorry. Well, I don't favor cutting it, so that's that.
Yes, sir.
Could we go back and discuss something that Ann said? Back in our original deliberations, we talked then about reducing an assistant principal at VCMS at the high school by half time, right? We didn't want to do it then, but maybe because we're looking at what we're looking at, it's time to just talk about it again. Do you have those notes?
Just wanted to find out. I think
That was actually in the second meeting, January 23. Page 2 of January 23. Was the effect of eliminating one assistant principal position and having 1.5 at Vernon Center Middle School and 1.5 at Rockville High School. This loss of supervision and evaluation of teachers, of course, given next year's evaluation model, that would be challenging. Loss of time to take care of discipline and be proactive. Loss of time to administer PPPs and 504 meetings. Not enough administrators now to work with departments and teams to make change to improve practice. Compromises safety in the building, especially in the cafeteria hallways at the beginning and end of the day. One person going between two schools would not provide the consistency needed for positive school climate. That's the response.
Other discussion? Mr. Percy.
I'd like to have a discussion about account number 53339, other professional and technical services. Obviously a huge increase on the board this year. In that huge, yeah, it's under central office. And there's a handful of things in there, but the big one is the $470,000 increase for the $810,000 bill from the town. And I know they took on 3 of our employees, and we're splitting that with the town. We're trying to find money here, so I'm thinking that maybe we can cut that account under the Central Administration Information Systems line. What would be the impact?
That's a bill that we're going to receive, so
I understand that.
we would not be paying our bill.